Hey, good morning, afternoon, everybody. Depending on when you're listening, of course, we put this out on podcast as well and all of your favorite podcasting sites. And we're heard right here on WGAN every Saturday from 1 till 3 p.m. Of course, I'm on with Ken and Matt for their morning drive show, which is every Wednesday at 7:38. Well, their morning drive show is actually every day. And of course, as you might expect, we have a lot of coronavirus-related stuff today. But this is not going to be so much on the medical side. This is going to be more on the how do you work from home, how do you make your business a success when you have many of your workers who are out for whatever reason. And we'll be talking about the technologies of working from home and what the FCC is doing to help make our lives a little bit easier. These coronavirus maps you might have seen, and how, in fact, they are a virus in and of themselves, frankly. Kind of a big problem if you were to ask me. We're going to talk about this massive Atlanta-based money laundering operation and how that was brought down. A huge business email compromise bust that also brought down dozens of different bad guy groups, how they've been doing that and how they're trying to take advantage of the coronavirus to steal even more money from you. Some free upgrades that have come from Comcast and T-Mobile. We probably will talk a little bit about what WebEx is doing for us as well when it comes to free conferencing systems and team systems for 90 days or more, and how the more secure businesses out there are making it very difficult, in fact, almost impossible, and frankly, in some cases, absolutely impossible to work from home. And some advice from my wife and myself. I've been working at home for more than 20 years. And what have we learned over those years? And what have other people been saying that I thought might be reasonable to talk about? Now, you'll find all of this, of course, on my website at craigpeterson.com. We try and post all of these articles up for everybody to be able to see. And we'll also be talking about this a little bit more in some of our webinars. You might have attended my webinars this week. Last Sunday, I had a really great webinar, well attended. We covered a lot of ground, frankly, about the whole work from home thing and VPNs and some of the technology you should and should not be using. And we're probably this week going to start up, this coming week, some specialized ones as well. We're going to be talking about VPNs, the hardware and software you need for the routers in your home office, some of the plugins you should be using, and what you can do about DNS. So that'll all be coming up this week. There's only one way to find out about this and to get registered. These are absolutely free and are important for you as a worker, as a business owner, as a manager, all of those people. You're going to benefit a lot by checking in with me on these webinars. So how do you get on? Easy. Just go to craigpeterson.com/subscribe. I am not one of these spammers. I'm not one of these internet marketers. I have been in the online space now for many, many decades. And it's kind of scary to think about 4+ decades, actually, in the whole networking space and the computer security space for this as well. So I guess you could say I've seen it all, at least most of it. And so I've been taking questions from everybody. What do you want? What don't you want to see? If you do sign up for the list, by the way, I've got 3 little surprises that'll come your way. Some really great gifts of information that are available for you just for the clicking and signing up. Again, craigpeterson.com/subscribe. Keep an eye on your mailbox because I will be letting you know about these other webinars that are coming up this next week. Being the tech guy that I am, sometimes I think it's kind of like the Cobblers kids without any shoes or ill-repaired shoes. In my case, it was ill-repaired technology. Of course, when you need it, it just isn't there for you. And this week, the problem I've been having has been with my email. And if you responded to me, I have to really apologize because my email system has not been working properly. You already know I have thousands of people on my email lists, and I've been trying to keep everybody up to date. On Saturday mornings, you get my special emails about what the news is this week, and then pretty much once a month, more or less a week after Microsoft's Patch Tuesday, I tell you what the most critical patches are to install and apply, give you all that information. If you haven't got that one yet, it's because we haven't sent it out yet. We've got the very first of that edition all set and ready to go, so we'll probably be sending that out pretty darn soon. And what we're trying to do is save you a lot of time. Microsoft had over 100 critical patches this week, and there's no way that a regular company can keep up with all of these patches. So what are you to do? That's what that special newsletter is all about. Just telling you, here are the most critical ones, the ones that are in the wild right now. Bad guys are actually using them. It's easy for them to use to get into your system. So how can you protect yourself? All of that stuff in that newsletter. So I think it's going to be really handy. It's one of the things we've heard the most complaints about from people is just, what patches do I need to apply? Because you can't possibly patch them all. I also had a great discussion this week that I want to bring up while we're talking about patches. And this is for a listener in fact, in Maine, and a business owner, a small business owner. And he is using Android devices, and he's sticking with the Google devices. Google makes a phone called a Pixel. It's not necessarily the best of the Android devices out there in many measures, but the good news about it is that Google does release updates for it, and those updates can cover all of the critical patches that you need. But the point I made to him, and I want to make sure is clear for everybody who's listening, is that most of the vendors in the Android world do not support devices for more than 2 years. So you only get 2 years worth of patch support, and that includes Samsung. And frankly, if I was buying an Android device, I would probably buy the Samsung Galaxy, more or less top of the line, because I know they'll be supporting that for 2 years. So first of all, check when the device came out. So if you're buying a new Samsung Galaxy phone and it came out 8 months ago, remember that's 8 months off of the 2 years worth of support. So you're going to get, what, 1 year and 4 months worth of support, hopefully, out of Samsung. And then after that, the problem is you're not going to be able to get patches anymore, and that means your security is going to go right down the drain. Keep that in mind. So our basic rule of thumb when it comes to Android devices, if you're going to buy them, you need to buy a new phone every year in order to make sure that you're able to get the updates. If you are using an Apple phone, you're good for 5 years. 5 years. So again, the same trick applies. When did Apple release that phone? And you're going to get support for 5 years from when it was released. So with the Apple phones, we advise every 4 years, or just keep an ear to the ground. Apple's really good about not only giving you the updates and automatically installing them and not having them brick your phones, but Apple's also good at letting you know when end of life is for a device. And we recently saw end of life for the iPhone 6. The 6S is going to be coming up later on this year. So, if you have a 6S, you're probably going to have to replace it. And then the 7s will probably be good until next year. They last, right? And Apple supports them and keeps all of these security patches up to date, which is super duper important for us, particularly in this day and age. One of the things I mentioned this week on one of these webinars was, hey guys, really big deal here, because what we're finding is that we're at war. And you may not realize it. They're certainly not talking about it on TV. And I'm not talking about coronavirus. I'm talking about war with real live enemies. Just like in the old days, we've got Iran, we've got China, we've got Russia, all attacking us, actively attacking us. But this is a war in the cyberspace. We're not attacking them anywhere like they're attacking us. And it isn't just bad guys living in those countries. We're talking about war that has been declared by and is officially being run by their governments. Now, we have retaliated for some of these cyber strikes that have been performed, but it's real war, and we can expect more of it. We can expect it to really kind of increase here with the coronavirus spread, because we're all kind of distracted, aren't we? From soup to nuts. The military's distracted. Everybody is distracted. So we have to make sure that we are covering ourselves with the security. And that's part of what I'm covering in these webinars this week. I go through all of the basics of the work from home environment, what you need to know, what you need to look for. And in these webinars, I always answer all of the questions everybody has so that you can get the right answers. And I am just it's content rich. That's the word I'm looking for. Where we're answering your questions, we're giving you all the information we can, and I'm going to be selling here probably in the next week or two a more advanced course that does a deep dive, step by step, all of the tactics, the things you absolutely need to do and how to do it to lock down your Windows computers, lock down your network, your Wi-Fi, etc. Because I've heard from so many people that it's confusing going online. You do a Google search, you're trying to find stuff, and no one has it organized properly because everybody has their own little bit. So we're going to be doing a full paid course on that one, and that's for anybody who has to maintain computers, primarily for businesses, but where you have to keep these things secure and make sure the security is going to work for you. Okay, so you can subscribe. Make sure you get on those lists by going to craigpeterson.com/subscribe. And when we get back, we're going to be talking about working from home, some of the things to consider from the tech side. You're listening to Craig Peterson on WGAN.